So much easier to handle than the bigger bikes like my KTM Super Adventure. I mean, if I had to pick, if I only could have one bike. Motor's definitely more punchy when you've got it in off-road. More punchy in those down lower revs. I don't know what it is set for off-road. It is set to 1. So much easier to handle than the bigger bikes like my KTM Super Adventure. I mean, if I had to pick, if I only could have one bike, this would be the bike. You can still clock off miles on the freeway. It's not going to be as comfortable as a Super Adventure for doing super long distance, but once you get to a destination, much like when we went up to do the Dempster Highway in Alaska, man, I would have loved to have had this bike on the Dempster. It would have been a much easier ride, more confidence, inspiring, especially in the deep gravel that we went through, as well as even on a Knoll Road where we did about 150 miles of off-road. And I think this bike would have been a lot more fun on that road. KTM was great, don't get me wrong. We had them fully loaded down. And one of the big takeaways I took away from that Alaska trip is less is more, as a lot of people will say, and packing a lot less, not taking all the things that we took, and really scaling down the weight when you're dealing with a bigger, 1300, 1290, 1300 type of adventure bike, the bigger size bikes, because it just really starts to add up, particularly when you get into off-road scenarios, or you get into some fire roads and stuff like what this is, and bike starts moving around on you more, having all that weight back there behind you. I'd rather have a simple kind of Moscow Moto, or one of the kits I'm looking at, the Lone Rider, kind of with the holster style bags on the side, which I think would be really good for this bike. But just yeah, I mean, this is just so much more confidence inspiring out here on this, and it starts to get loose a little bit. It's not like a big bike. So that thing starts to wiggle around on you. You can certainly get used to that and totally take that thing off-road. Just go watch some Chris Birch videos. He does it all the time and shows us all how to ride. But yeah, this bike is pretty nice. Pretty nice, I have to say. And I can't get over the looks. I know looks are subjective. Some people didn't like the front end on this. I was like, I'm not 100% sure, but the more I look at it, the more I like it. I like it with that high fender, and just the graphics, the colors, everything. The bike it looks amazing. It looks total rally edition, much like the Eco Africa rally, which I think is coming up here in the next week. Probably will be running out on that, but what they modeled this whole bike off of. So yeah, if you're thinking about one of these versus like, should I get a big adventure bike, and you're new into adventure bike riding, man, definitely go with a middleweight like this. You're going to have so much more fun. It'll be a lot easier, the learning curve, and just not dealing with a lot of the big weight of a GS, 1300 or a KTM Super Adventure or any of those big bikes. They just, they've got a lot of weight. And then when you start loading all the gear on it and all the tech on it, nav, instruments, all that stuff, it becomes quite a bit of weight to throw around if you start to get a little bit off-road. If you're doing all road stuff, then, those bikes are awesome. They're the ones that can really kind of eat up the mileage. So I'm going to change out some batteries here, and we'll continue down this road. Yeah, if you're new to the channel and you're interested or looking at buying this Aprilia Tuareg, whether it's the Rally or the standard edition, you might subscribe to the channel. I'll be kind of doing videos with this bike, I'm sure, months to come, as well as the modifications that I'll do to it. I'll kind of document those and put those on the channel. It's always kind of fun to see what other people are doing to the bike, especially if you're considering getting one. Yeah, you get rain back here in these areas, and it just, all kinds of stuff just comes off the side of the hills here. Nifty little feature. On my KTM, these rubber inserts, there's a bolt underneath to take them off, so it's not a simple process. You got to pull over, get the right wrench to pop it out. But with Aprilia, these literally are just plugged in here and pop right out. So if you're going to go off and spend a lot of time off-road and want to get a little bit more traction with the boot, these babies pop right out, which is kind of nice. So we will just tuck those in there for now and see how this thing does with just the pegs themselves. They're fairly wide pegs, which is kind of nice. I know the aftermarket one's a lot more aggressive teeth on them, but we'll go with these and just see how they go. And that's the least thing that I need to worry about from an aftermarket perspective. A lot of other things I want to do to this bike. I mentioned as we were coming down the hill here that crash bars are kind of the next element here, just a little bit more protection. And I think one of the other things, a lot of different little things that I'm looking at, but I think from a road perspective, this seat, it's okay. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, it's like most of these stock seats they put in, it's just literally a rubber sponge. If you're just doing what I've noticed, if you're just doing road miles with that seat, the vibration up there can start to make things down south go a little numb and feel kind of weird when you get off the bike, which that's no fun. So definitely gonna look at they've got an OEM same seat height. They actually have multiple seat heights. If you are considering this bike and you're not tall, they actually have a higher seat than the standard one. And I forget what the seat height is on this. It's fairly tall. I'm right at 6 feet. They've got one that's I think like 2 inches shorter, and then one is 2 inches higher. The 2 inch higher one is that's kind of crazy, but some tall people out there. But they've got those options for the seat, which is kind of nice. And I think the lower one is probably, if you're considering buying this and you want to have a little bit more confidence, feet on the ground, the lower one might be up your alley. But they've got the standard height OEM seat. That is the comfort seat. Buy all this, but hey, comfort is extra. So they got the OEM comfort seat that's heated. They've got a standard one and one that's heated. I'm going to go with the heated one. That, and probably eventually get the heated grips on this. So those are definitely some aftermarket, not necessarily aftermarket OEM stuff that I'm going to add to this bike. I think the quick shifter, it doesn't come with a quick shifter, as you probably hear in other YouTube write-ups on this bike. But I have to say, me being a road-going guy and used to riding road bikes, all my bikes recent years have had quick shifters on them, and I do like it. It's pretty convenient when you're leaned over, coming out of a corner, and want to just blip it up a gear. You gotta get used to doing that. I mean, I've been riding for over 40 years, so I'm used to doing the good old clutch, but in recent years I have gotten used to using the upshift on these blippers. The downshift not so much. I think for you're doing track days and stuff like that on other bikes, and that's great, but yeah, the upshift will be nice, and I think that'll be a future add-on as well. But yeah, I mean, out of the box, this bike comes really kind of ready to go. Just add some bags onto it. I just added a mount for my phone, which that seems to be working out pretty well. And they have a vibration. They have a vibration option for this, which I know one of my buddies purchased because it ended up damaging the cameras. I thought I'd give it a try without. I didn't know how much vibration would be running up through these bars, and I can feel a little bit in the phone, so it'll be interesting to see if it does any sort of damage to the phone itself. Rock solid, definitely staying in place, and it's kind of nice having your phone right there. The other option, a lot of guys putting it up here, but I think eventually another nav unit, Carpy Ride or something like that, I'll probably put up top up there. Coolio Magulio bike, I have to say, very excited about it. All right, let's get back out on the road. I was mentioning earlier that I've close to 40 years of experience. I've been riding motorcycles since I was a kid. So it kind of started in the dirt, and I definitely had my share of spills and crashes, but you know, you're a young kid and you're not going so fast. Fortunately, never got into any hairy crashes. Point to all that, I haven't had a lot of off-road dirt riding experience. So kind of getting back into it as I've gotten older, and I've been doing the street riding stuff for so long. I still enjoy it, but I really enjoy kind of getting back into areas like this where you've got more open territory, nobody's around, and Mother Nature, and any wildlife that you may happen to run across. So yeah, it's a nice little area back here. We're gonna head up here and pull off. There's a falls up here called Taneja Falls. I've always wanted to fly the drone out there, so we'll fly the drone out and check it out. Just a fun bike. It really is. I can't wait to take this thing on some road trips this year.